Hi there, it's Rose from the Painted Toad, and I'm just doing a quick little tutorial on how to create a snowy pine tree. Um, Somebody in one of the beginner art groups that I belong to was looking for a little bit of help, so I'm going to just do this quick tutorial to give you an idea of how you can create the pine tree shape and make it look semi-realistic. So I'm using a flat brush here. I just put some brown paint on here just for the stem of the tree. Now, you could go in and do the branches if you want, but technically you don't really have to do that. And the thing you have to remember about trees is the shape of each tree is kind of unique. So I'm going to use this flat brush. I've got a little bit of green paint left from something I was painting earlier, so this is a good way to use up my green paint. And I'm going to take my flat brush here, and starting at the top, I'm just going to kind of create and go across like this and kind of bring this down. Now if you want a fuller tree, you just make these thicker. You could also try this with a round brush. I like the flat brush because you can kind of get the shape of the tree. You just kind of bring it in like this. Now if you want it really full like a Christmas tree, you can go back in here and kind of fill this in a little bit more. Let me bring that to the top here. See how I'm turning my brush there just to get the pointy top. And I'm just going to bring this down and keep building my tree all the way down here. So you got to think each of these little fronds is, or these pine needles are kind of stretching off of a branch. I'm going to grab a little bit more green here. I just ran out, so a little bit more. And that's the other thing. You want to make sure you have plenty of paint on your brush. If you go too thin on the paints, it's harder to layer, and it's harder to get the paint to do what you want it to do. The brush isn't going to want to move as easily across your canvas or whatever you're painting on. So I keep going back, I keep dipping in my paint here so that I have paint on my brush. And this is a basic pine tree shape, and there's different kinds of pine trees too, so you could always, it's good to look at pictures, look at the shapes of the trees to get an idea of the shape. Whenever you do trees, you're not really doing individual leaves and branches and things. You're creating the shape of the tree. So if you think of it like that, that's what you're going for. I'm going to blow dry this real quick because I want to show you how to add some snow on the branches. So pardon the noise. Somebody unplugged my blow dryer. There we go. So you want to make sure that your green paint is dry before you go on with the white paint for the snow. The reason being is you don't want your snow to turn green. You could use that flat brush again and kind of do the angle. I'm actually going to switch to a round brush here and try dabbing with a round brush. So think about where the snow would fall, and then those are the areas you're going to just take and dab some snow. So the snow on these branches, they'll get kind of caught along the edges of the branches, and you can just bring this along here. I'm just dabbing this. I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom in just a tad here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm using a little bit leftover white here, so mine might turn a little bit green, but I recommend that you make sure yours is totally dry before you add the snow so that it turns out the way you want it to turn out. And this is just one very simple way of doing a snowy tree. There's other ways too. You know what I'll also do? Let me show you. Oops, I got a little bit of the green paint still wet there. I don't know if you can see, I'm really layering this on thick. Let your paint be thick. You're not going to get the coverage over the green unless the white paint is thick. I'll show you with the flat brush too, just so you can kind of see the difference. I'm going to do one more little area here with the snow. Okay, so that's with a round brush. Let me get one of my flats here. I'm just going to use a small flat brush. And I'm going to do what I did similarly in creating the tree. So you can just kind of take this along here and just kind of fill in where the snow would rest on some of those branches. You know, you might have some that go all the way across here. Just kind of bring it down. A little bit of snow there. So really isn't too much of a big difference here between the two brushes. So I would recommend, you know, try both. See which one which you're most comfortable with. And thick, thick paint here. You don't want to go thin, because otherwise you're going to end up with, you'll be able to see all that green through there. It's not going to look like snow. It's just going to look kind of washed out. You want some thick, thick paint on there. Bring this down and I'll keep going along here. I'll fill this in. This isn't quite dry down here, so might pull a little bit of that green in there, but for this little quick tutorial, as long as you get the idea, that's all that matters. If you notice, I'm kind of doing a little bit here and there, a little bit back and forth. Instead of doing a line all the way across, I got some coming in from one front, and then it kind of crosses over the center, and then you come in from the other side. So it's almost like weaving it back and forth. Like I'll bring that one a little lower, maybe a little bit there. And that is a quick, easy way to do a pine tree. If you have it thicker, you can just, just use thicker lines, but that's it. Okay. So good luck, and hope it turns out okay.